Hello everyone. Today's class has the theme of balance. And though some of you might think that in yoga, to be balanced could be to be doing a pose like tree pose, standing on one foot or on your hands, I'm thinking of the broader, the bigger meaning of balance. So today we will be doing some balances on one foot and balancing in other ways too. We're going to be exploring finding balance. And that means when everything is really well proportioned in your life, there's the right amount of everything, and that helps make you feel good, makes you feel right in yourself. So you might be thinking of things like a balanced diet, and that while it's lovely and fun to eat sweeties or chocolate, if you ate them all day you'd feel sick, and you need to balance with some healthy food. Maybe thinking of exercise, where if you just sat around all day you would feel a bit sluggish, and getting up and having some movement's really important too. And sometimes in yoga we talk about balancing the nervous system, the side of the nervous system which is responsible for making us feel really energetic, really excited, but when it's a bit overstimulated makes us feel anxious and maybe exhausted even. And also balancing that with the other side, which is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps us rest, it helps us digest, it helps us settle, it helps us sleep. So finding a nice balance of those two mean that we have a really settled life, a really settled day, where we do have energy when we need it, and we can settle when we need it too. So we're going to try and find balance in our breathing, we're going to try and find balance in our poses and in our movement. So let's come to a nice comfortable seated position. All back your shoulders, relax them back down again, finding some length in the upper body, but settling the lower body down. We're going to start with a type of breath called square breathing. And that's where we concentrate on the in-breath and the out-breath being the same length. So we're going to try and breathe in for the same amount of time as we breathe out. And the reason it's called square breathing is that you could close your eyes and imagine a square as you're doing it. So you could imagine that you're breathing in the up line and out the across line, in the down line and out as we go across again. Should we have a go? So bring your hands to relax on your knees or on your legs or wherever feels comfortable. All those shoulders again, just checking in with yourself. If you're feeling comfortable, we can begin. You can close your eyes or you could lower your gaze and start to notice your breathing. So moving your attention to your breathing. And then let's start to breathe in and imagine a line of a square going up. Breathe out, imagine the across line. In the down line and out across again. Let's try that 2 more times. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. One more. Do this in your own time. Your eyes are closed, you could blink them open. And let's try and see if we can find some balance in our warm-up stretches. So we're going to breathe in and stretch the arms above the head, and breathe out and stretch them wide. Breathe in, place one hand on the floor, breathe out, slight side bend. Breathe in, come to the other side. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in, come back to centre. Breathe out, step the hands forward. Breathe in, back to the middle. Breathe out, take the hands behind. Start to arch the back, open the chest, looking up at the ceiling as we breathe out. And relax. Let's try again. Have a wriggle. Link the fingers this time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and let's have maybe a slightly bigger back bend if you want to try it. Breathe out. Oh, releasing that back. Lovely. Okay, so the poses today are designed for balance, and that means we're going to try and keep in roughly the same stretch or the same movement on one side as the other. Okay, so we're going to start with doing a cat-cow curl, but while we're seated. So I'm going to come round to the side so that you can see my back. Now, some of you have done cat-cow curl before, and we've done it on our knees. This time we're going to sit seated just as we are for our warm-ups. And this time when we breathe out, we're going to push the middle of the back towards the back of the room. And then when we breathe in, we're going to open the chest and open the upper back. So let's try that with the breathing. So we push the middle of the back on the out breath, and we draw the chest forward and open on the in. And you can move your hands to help you. And you can even make that movement with the arms. So maybe as you breathe out, you give yourself a hug and really arch. And then maybe as you breathe in, you can open the arms wide. Let's keep trying. Breathing out and in. One more, breathing out and in. Well done, everybody. Okay, we're going to come up onto all fours now, and we're going to have a go at drawing the number 8, which you maybe want to try with your finger first of all. The number 8. But we're going to try and draw that number with our bottom. So coming onto all fours, your hands are below your shoulders, your bottom and is right above your knees, so we've got the knees straight up above from the knees are the hips, the hands straight up above from the hands are the elbows and shoulders. And first of all, have a little wriggle, nice little wriggle to loosen up the hips, and then let's have a go at drawing the number 8. So we're going to draw the top part of the number 8, moving the hips up and round, back to the middle, and then the bottom of the 8 takes you in the other direction. Let's do that a couple more times in one direction. Really moving the hips, really moving the bottom. And then when you've done it around 3 times, then let's see if you can do it backwards. So you're doing like a backwards 8, the way you possibly would have normally write it. Really loosening up, and as you can see, my spine, my back is moving lots as well, doing that same kind of cat-cow movement of arching and dipping. Wonderful. And then maybe we can pause for a moment and take an actual balance. So this will be our first balance where we need focus. Remember, with balances, we're looking at finding some focus and some stillness. And some of the ways that we can do that is to look at a spot on the floor, adjust ourselves when we need to, come out of the balance if you need to and start again, that's fine. And have a go at finding some stillness in this balance. So coming back on all fours, hands in the same position, spreading the fingers wide. And let's take one arm up, straight ahead, And let's take the opposite leg out. And we want trying to hold that position, keeping the neck nice and long. So we are looking ahead slightly on the floor. We don't want to scrunch the neck or have the neck hang too heavy. Well done. Come down with control. Let's try the other side, the other arm, the other leg. Keeping that foot flexed, keeping that lovely length. Don't worry if you wobble and come out and fall out of it. You can just pop yourself back into it. Looking at a spot on the floor. Well done. Let's come down with wide knees, taking our knees nice and wide and coming into our lovely extended child or swan's pose. And let's take a couple of breaths here, feeling the stretch. Now this stretch, it can be a little bit much for some people, even though it's a relaxation stretch. So if you're finding it hard to get your head to the floor, make 2 potatoes and rest your head on the 2 potatoes, or 1 potato even. And maybe eventually you'll work your way down to either the floor or flat hands. So find the position that works for you. And then move slowly with focus and attention back onto all fours. Okay, so let's balance ourselves now between some resting and some energizing. So we find a real lovely level between the two and find what both feel like. So we're going to move ourselves into downward dog. I'm going to curl the toes under, start to lift the knees up, lengthen the back. You can keep nice soft legs, nice bent knees as you straighten out the back, straighten out the arms. And maybe you can start to take your doggy for a walk if you want to. We won't wag its tail just yet. We'll just loosen up the legs. Stay there for a moment and then come back to all fours. Take the knees wider and then rest again in your version of extended child. Again, it could be with your potatoes. It could be resting on your hands. And take a couple of breaths here. Let's try that one more time, shall we? So we're going to come back to all fours. Curl the toes under. Up into downward dog. Take your doggy for a walk. Maybe now you fancy wagging your doggy's tail. And remember that yoga doggies have 2 tails. So don't forget to wag the other one. Back. Stretching out those calf muscles, stretching out the hamstrings, and back. Briefly, maybe have a little dip and a push. Take the knees wide and back to extended child or swan pose. Settle your breathing here. If you want to bring your knees in a little and take your feet round to the heels, then you can do so. So choose what feels good for you. Bring the hands to the head and push up to sit. Okay, so in your own time, nice and slowly and with care, bring yourself to a standing position. Okay, we're going to start by standing in mountain pose, being really strong. Now I want you to think about what mountain pose means. It's not just standing there, standing up straight, but it's finding some strength. So finding some strength in the arms, shooting them down to the floor, engaging the legs. The back is long, thighs squeezed together, strong as a mountain. unmovable. You may even be able to close your eyes for a moment and engage with some inner strength. Blinking the eyes open. We're going to step wide on the mat. So let's take a nice wide stance. And we're going to come into a forward bend. Now forward bends can feel quite strong on the back of the legs, so find some softness in your legs, some bend in the knees. Hands onto your hips, and let's try by coming halfway. Down, forward, forward, forward to a halfway position. Now this might be enough for you. If you feel you can come further, you could maybe even start to take your legs a little bit wider and start to come all the way down to the floor. And maybe some of you will be even in a position to straighten the legs. So just take a moment here, take some nice breaths here, either in a full forward bend or coming halfway, hands on hips or on the legs. And breathe into the position. Deep breath in, long breath out. Take one hand down if you're on the floor and take the other hand up towards the sky. If you're further up in your position, stay at where you are. But if you're all the way down, have a little go. Add a twist to one side, then replacing with the other hand and taking a twist to the other side. Let's all meet halfway. Soften the knees as we come up to stand. Heels in, then the toes in. The heels in, then the toes in. Heels, toes, bring them together. Lovely. Now we're going to come to the front of the mat and we're going to take a step out. But before we do, let's have some space between our feet. So imagine your two fists could fit in between your feet. You could even test them out. And then we're going to take a nice step back. Doesn't need to be too big, not as big as last time, not as wide a space between the legs as last time, but a deep step back, keeping the heel on the floor, bending that front knee. Can you see I bent it already? In fact, I'm going to take my foot back a little bit more because as I bend my knee, it can go past the ankle and I want it to be above the ankle. When we've got a nice strong stance, nice strong legs, we're going to shoot the arms up to the sky. The hands might touch, or we might just be having the hands apart to keep the shoulders down and relaxed. Staring straight ahead, determined, confident and controlled. Wonderful. We're going to move this pose to step a bit wider, drawing the hands down, checking that the back foot is in line with the front foot, drawing our body back into our warrior two, from warrior one to warrior two. Touch the back leg, stretch up to the sky, come back to warrior two, and then relax the hands. Well done, everybody. Okay, let's heels, toes, heels, toes, heels, toes. So trying to think about what foot you had back last time, and this time you're going to put the other foot back. I'm going to come to the other side of the mat just so that you can see me from the front. So, one foot forward, the other foot back. Remember, we're trying to have some space in between the legs, and this will help our balance. Bend that front knee. Shoot the arms up to the sky. Draw the hands together if it feels comfortable, or keep them apart to relax the shoulders more. Staring straight ahead, determined, confident.
And then move the legs a little wider, drawing the arms down just as much as you need to, checking the feet are in alignment. That means that if you drew a line, you would have both feet on that line. Arms are out wide. The knee, which can come a little bit forward, is getting drawn back towards the foot, towards the back of the room, and we are determined. Looking over the front arm, strong legs, determined body. Touch the back leg, stretching, lengthening up to the ceiling, and back again. Drop the arms, straighten the leg, bring the foot forward, heels, toes, heels, toes, heels, toes. Well done. So now we're in a position to try out our 1 foot balances, balancing on 1 foot. And I like doing warriors before I come to balance on 1 foot because they give me a boost of confidence, a boost of determination, and they also help my focus, and that's what we need for balancing on 1 foot. So let's try with a tree pose to begin with, which many of you may have done before. It's quite a nice way to start our balancing, to get into a pose that feels familiar. So we'll start with our hands on our hips. And we're going to soften one knee, bend one knee, come onto the balls of the toes of that foot, balls of the foot. Can you feel that? Feel that pressure pressing down? And can you feel that now the weight has shifted to the other leg? Once you feel secure in that position, you can then turn the bent knee to one side. And this could be your tree pose. You could have a go at lifting the foot up to the lower leg, avoiding the ankle and the knee. And you could have a go at letting go of the waist. Now, all of these coulds mean that you don't need to. We're just playing with it. And you could be a lovely wide tree. You could try and be a tall tree. Or you could come down and be a smaller tree. When we come out of the balance, we do it with control. But don't worry if the first time you try it, you sort of fall out of it. It's okay, we can try that again another time. But the control means that we utilise the pose right to the end. Should we try the other side? Hands on hips. Bend the other knee. Coming onto the balls of the feet, pressing in, but feeling that the weight is in the other leg. Turn the knee out to the side. Lift only if you want to the foot. So coming here and recognising that this is your balance for today, that's yoga. Recognising what's going on with you today. Recognising that this is where you are today. Maybe tomorrow you're here. But find where you are on any given day so that you really understand your feeling at that moment. Okay, let's spread out our branches. Maybe take them tall, or maybe take them small. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, do you draw yourself out of your balance. Well done, everybody. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to a new balance, which we could maybe link together. So this is quite a nice game to play when you're trying to really explore your balances and really challenge them by bringing some movement into them. So what we could do is try a new balance and then link tree to that new balance. So let's have a little go at flamingo pose. Now flamingo pose is in some ways more simple than tree in that we don't need to move the leg, the hips around. We just need to lift the foot up and hold on to it. And as you can see, is when I immediately hold on to my foot, my knee comes out a little. So try to remember to bring the knee back and then bring our long flamingo neck up. Lovely. So in some ways, more straightforward than tree pose. Come down with control. Try on the other side, lifting the foot. The knee draws back towards the other knee. Oops, little wobble. Wobbles are fine. And actually, if wobbles mean that you come out again and start again, it's almost like resetting, giving yourself another go at it. So bringing the knee back together, drawing the arm up, the neck of the flamingo reaches tall and coming out with control. Lovely. So let's try to put them together now. And again, we're playing with balance. So we're having no judgment here. If you come out of it, even if you topple a little bit, we're not going to worry so much about that. We're going to just have another go at it and keep playing with it. So, trying tree on one side. We can have our hands to our heart, or we could have our hands on our hips. Knee comes out, foot comes to where you're comfortable to have it. And then we're going to move from tree pose to flamingo pose. Staying on one foot, trying to keep some focus, remembering that staring at one point can help you be still. And down. Let's try the other side now. So, tree. Find your tree. Find if you need to have some foot up or foot staying on the floor. And move from tree to flamingo. You might wobble a little bit in between, and when you're doing the movement, your foot's trying to adjust and your brain's trying to adjust and say, now hold on, you've changed the weight here, and it needs to adjust to the new weight, the new balance. Well done. Well done, everybody. Okay, so we're going to come down now to sit, and let's find our way down via a squat. So taking the feet quite wide, we're going to have quite a lot of distance between our feet for this squat, which could make it a little bit easier. And if you find as you come down that your heels come up, that's absolutely fine. That's just the way your squat is for now. So we'll just come down really slowly. And trying to keep quite a long back while we're doing it. We're going to bend the knees, come down, down, down. You might find that your heels turn inwards. Take the feet, the hands onto the floor, and maybe bring the feet in a little bit as we have a froggy pose. So here is our squat with the heels raised. And the reason we're going to start with the squat with the heels raised into a froggy is so that those of you that when you did the wide leg forward bend didn't get to do a twist, that we can include a twist now. So we're going to include a twist in our squat. We're going to place one hand on the floor, and we're going to take the other arm up to the sky. Looking up to that arm if you want to, or looking straight ahead. So you can feel the twist is in the lower part of the body, the lower part of the torso. And then bring the hand back to replace the other, and twist in the other direction. You might feel that your elbow, your arm, presses against the leg. And that's quite a good way, quite an effective way to get your twist stronger. Back down, take the hands behind, and come down to sit. Well done again. So we're going to have one leg stretched out now, and the other foot tucked in. And we're going to turn towards that foot that's stretched out, and we're going to start to fold over it. Folding, coming forward, but trying not to have too much bend in the back. So you might not come very far, you could just have a really small easing towards the foot. Then we're going to come straight forward again, and this time it's going to be more of a side bend. So we're sliding the hand down. You can raise the other arm up if you want to. And to find balance for this movement, we're going to then place the hand onto the floor, coming up onto the knee, and stretch the other side. Coming back down to sit, and let's swap over to the other side. So the other foot comes in, tucked in towards the thigh. The leg that's out has a flexed foot. And first of all, we're going to look at that foot. So we're turning the body towards the leg and we're coming forward. And we're easing ourselves. So we're not aiming to go down to the toes. We're easing. Nice long back. And maybe on each out breath, you'll find some space for more movement, and maybe you won't. That's fine. Ease back up. Turn the body round to the front again. And this time it's a side bend, sliding the hand down. Maybe reaching the other arm up and over. Take the hand behind you, counter the pose with a big stretch in the other direction. And back down to sit. So we've done some lovely balancing poses today. We've been balancing on one foot. We've even did a little balance in our tiger pose, lifting an arm and the opposite leg. But we've also balanced out each of our poses, trying to feel through on each side, being roughly the same. And also when we're doing a forward bend, countering it with a back bend, so that we have balance in our whole practice. Before we come to relaxation, we're going to do one more pose. I'd like us to come into an inversion. And an inversion means that we're coming upside down, turning everything upside down. And it's a lovely way to finish a class. So I'm going to invite you to come onto your back, lying down. So coming down to lie and then having a little wriggle here, because you might find that your back's really quite arched when you come to lie down. So having a little wriggle of your bottom so that you can really feel all of your back on the floor, maybe even pressing the lower back into the floor. Having the hands by your feet, near your feet, your legs are bent here, your feet are near your bottom. We're going to come up into bridge slowly. So I want you to imagine that all those little bones that run up your spine, that you're peeling them one by one off the floor as you breathe in. So let's have a go. So breathing in and peeling those bones off the floor, lifting up, adjusting maybe the shoulders slightly. If you feel that you want to go deeper, you may even be able to hold your hands underneath you. Taking some nice deep in and out breaths. Now this is upside down because your heart is above your head. So we're going in the other direction, but we're also, as you can see, bending our back. It's also a back bend. So let's roll the spine down now, feeling, or imagining at least, each vertebra, each bone in spine touching the floor one after the other. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe a little rock from side to side. Bring the arms flat to the floor and the feet flat to the floor. And we're going to take the feet quite wide now. And then we're going to begin to drop the knees to one side. And they'll come as far as is comfortable, so we don't need to take them all the way to the ground. Let them naturally come as far as is comfortable. You can look the other way from the knees if you want to, or keep the head straight up. Let's draw the head back up to the centre. Knees back up, legs back up, and take it the other way. You might need a little wriggle in between, keeping them wide and taking them the other way. Maybe looking in the opposite direction. Balance in all things. Knees come back up. Give yourself a little hug and prepare yourself for relaxation. So finding a nice comfortable
lying down position. And this could either be on your back or your front. You could be curled on your side. You choose. If you think you might be getting a little cold, as we do when we become a bit more still, you could cover yourself in a blanket. You could get a little cuddly toy to cuddle as well. So make sure you're really comfortable. Have a little wriggle if you need to. And then settle yourself down. Let's focus on our breathing again. Notice where it is, coming in and out of the nostrils, in and out of the nose. If your eyes are still open, start to gently close them or lower the gaze. And maybe now begin to deepen the breath. And try out that square breathing again. Breathing in, up the square, and out along it. Breathing in, down the square, and out across again. 2 or 3 times. And that's your breath's way of telling your brain and your body it's time to relax. Time to settle. All is well. And now let's move your attention away from your breathing and start to picture your toes. And start to imagine that your toes are relaxing. And that sense of relaxation starts to move up through the body, relaxing the bottoms of the feet, tops of the feet, the heels, the ankles. It starts to relax the lower legs. It starts to relax the knees. And then that sense of relaxation starts to fill the big muscles in the upper legs, and they can be heavy. Relaxed. Hips relax. Lower back. Belly softens. Relaxation moves all the way up the mid-body, into the chest area, the upper back, and relaxes the shoulders back and down. Allows the arms to be floppy and heavy. Upper, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers and thumbs. And it now moves up through the neck, relaxing around the jaws, the lips, the tongue inside the mouth relaxes, the cheeks, around the eyes, the forehead smooths, the thoughts can be light. Another deep breath in, and this time an even longer breath out. Picture yourself lying where you are, where your body makes contact with the floor. Maybe start to notice the sounds that you may hear in the distance. Maybe sounds that are closer. Maybe even the sound of your breathing. toes. Start to have a bit of a stretch. Oh, and a hug maybe. Well done, you deserve that hug. When you're ready, blink your eyes open and bring yourself up to sit. I hope you feel nice and balanced and ready for anything that lies ahead. Let's have another big stretch to wake ourselves fully, and let's push it back down again. Bring our hands to our heart and finish this session in a namaste. Namaste.